Hey everyone, in most videos here on SkillCapped, we're trying to teach the fundamentals of the game since you have to know these before getting into more advanced strategy and tactics. The fundamentals alone will take you very far, but even if you don't have them down completely, there's still value in knowing some advanced concepts that you can sprinkle in if the opportunity presents itself. Today, I'm going to break down some of those advanced concepts. To do this, I'm going to use a game where I'm playing in Platinum, Emerald, and MMR to show how well these concepts work against players at your own rank. And of course, guides like this are only made possible by our website, skillcapped.com. Our subscription service offers premium courses teaching literally everything you could ever want to know about the game. You can click the link in the description below to unlock the most extensive and effective training resource you'll ever find, or learn more at the end of the guide. Alright, I'm playing Kled vs Aatrox in this game, but don't worry, the concepts I'm going to show will apply to any matchup. As laning starts, I'm thinking about two things. First, the most obvious thing is the mind game around Aatrox's Q. Aatrox can do quite a bit of damage at level 1 between his passive auto and his Q, and I want to try to auto minions to start pushing, but I need to bait out his Q first. That's why you see me moving back and forth like this, moving in and out of his Q range to try and make him use it. Aatrox is a scary champion to go against in top lane since he snowballs so hard, but it's a fun matchup because it's a footsie matchup. Footsies is a fighting game term and is basically doing what I was just talking about, moving in and out of his Q range to try and make him whiff it, then whiff punish him afterwards. When he gets his E, the mind game gets even more fun, and I'll show you what I mean in a bit. But anyways, after successfully baiting his first Q, I walk up to auto the wave, but because he walks back at me, I use Q since his second Q will make him stand still, which makes landing mine easy. After I get the pool damage, I back off to avoid his third Q. Now that both of our abilities are down, I'm going to constantly auto-attack the wave to try and work towards hitting level 2 first. Even if I can't hit it first though, I won't be far behind in experience if I'm damaging the minions as much as possible. At this point, both of our abilities are coming back up, and if we pause, we have an important scenario to break down. Look, there's two low health minions that he wants to get, and they are right next to a low health minion that I need to grab. I try to bait his Q by walking towards the minion, acting like I'm going for it, as I know he'll want to hit me and the 2 CS at the same time, but I got minion blocked a little, which made me just barely get clipped by it. This concept though is a more advanced one because it requires you to be able to pay attention to their CS, your CS, cooldowns, and knowing what they might want to do. Most players struggle paying attention to all of these things at once in lower ranks, but it's an easy trick to bait the enemy laner into using an ability as they want to hit you and the CS at the same time. And you'll see me do this successfully in a little bit. But anyways, after that, I do the same thing as before, using my Q as he's going to use his second Q since he'll be standing still, and I grab the last hit at the same time. After pulling him into my wave, I do a small advanced mechanic here where I click backwards first, then click him. The purpose of that is for him to see me walking backwards, so he'll click to turn around. Then as he's doing that, I turn and auto him to sneak and auto in. The problem was his passive gives him so much auto range that it didn't work, but this trick is really important in top lane, especially in auto attack heavy matchups like Jax vs Camille. At this point, he's about to hit level 2. If this was a video on the basics, I would say I can just play for level 3, let Aatrox push in and crash the wave, then when the wave rebounds and pushes back towards him, that's when I can look for an all-in. That's fundamentally exactly what I could look for here, because looking to trade when the enemy is pushing is dangerous. They have a level lead and a minion advantage. But when you get to a level where you understand the game more, you can look for trades carefully in a scenario like this. Let me show you what I mean. I know he's one minion from level 2, but I also know his Q is down, so while it's down, I can walk up and damage the wave to try and work towards hitting 2 myself. If his Q was up, I would have to back up right now, or I risk him going in the moment he hits 2 and grabs Z. His Q is almost back up, but before that, I try to grab these 2 minions with my Q, but Aatrox walks in front of it. He uses his first Q here, then notice I walk to here, then move towards him and preemptively move back. This is where the mind game goes to the next level, and why it's a fun matchup for me. I'm standing at a spot where if he tries to use his E with his second Q, I would just barely be able to walk out of it, so I'm just trying to bait. If I can bait his E, that gives me a lot of freedom to hit the wave or grab CS, as his E is a pretty high cooldown early on at 9 seconds. He didn't take the bait though, so I try again on his third Q, and this time he took it and misses. Doing this properly takes practice, and you have to know the enemy ranges very well, but if you can do it right, it can open up a lot of opportunities in the lane, which I'll show you in a second. Anyways, after that, I have to back up and let his wave aggro my next wave. Then we're at a really important part of the lane. My third wave is here, he's going to be 2 minions away from level 3. If I sit back and just let the wave crash, like I said before, that's fine, but that means I have to hope he makes a mistake while I slow push towards him. If not, I won't be able to get any lead. Instead, using these advanced concepts, I can look to make him make a mistake before the wave crashes. First, I act like I'm going to walk up and auto these minions, which makes Aatrox walk up to contest me. Then, I use Q to grab the CS and hit him with it. Think of it like layers. The first layer is the fundamental concept of contesting CS. I walk up for last hit, Aatrox walks up and hits me when I go for it. The second layer is I know he's going to contest me, so I do what I just did to counter that. Then the third layer, which doesn't happen in lower ranks, is Aatrox walks at me, then moves to the side preemptively knowing I'm going to do this. So my Q only grabs the CS and I don't get any damage on him. Then the last layer is when I know he's going to bait, so I just walk up and auto the CS, but they have to show me the third layer first, of course. That's how the mind game evolves at a high level. In lower ranks, it doesn't go past layer 2. Anyways, after landing my Q, I walk at him because I have a 2-second window here where we can trade autos and I will win the trade, as his next wave is close but it's not here just yet. This is an advanced concept as it requires you to be tracking who has the minion advantage at the exact time, even though the enemy is pushing to you, which means 90% of the time they will have the minion advantage. After winning that trade, Aatrox has to not let losing the trade affect his decisions here. He needs to realize I still need to walk up and get those 2 low health minions and I don't have my Q for it, so he should save his Q for that. But this is what I mean by getting him to make a mistake. If I just sat back at the tower and let the wave crash, it would be fine, but I wouldn't be able to create this situation. He doesn't hold his Q and just uses it right away, which was easy to sidestep since I knew it might be coming. But he has his E and his second Q, so I do the same thing as before, moving forward and back at this range to try and bait it. He didn't use it there, and I noticed he was 1 minion away from level 3. So I walk up looking to bait him into using his third Q and E together before he hits level 3, and he does. This concept is very advanced and works extremely well at low elo, as players don't think ahead a lot of the time and tunnel on what's happening at the exact moment. He should have auto-attacked a minion to hit 3, then look to grab W and trade. But because I walked up before he hit 3, now he's going to level up but not be at as big of an advantage as he would if he didn't use his abilities. Since I know this, I know I don't have to back off when he levels up, and I can actually look to use Q on him as he goes for this minion. It lands, and he uses his W on me in response. Again, a mistake from him. His W is a combo tool. He shouldn't be using it like this when his E and Q are down. Now, when his E and Q come back up, his W will be down for a bit, putting them out of sync, and I won't have to worry about it. Since I know he doesn't have his other abilities, I try to jump in with my E to damage him a little bit more and avoid the second part of his W, but I miss my E. That's not a big deal though, because he had nothing to punish me with, and as I disengage, I get dismounted. At this point, his goal should be to crash this wave, and my goal is to pressure him with these advanced concepts to force a mistake, which is working very well so far. And before we see what happens next, let me explain why this is a better scenario for me than it is for him, even though he has the minion advantage and level advantage. The reason for this is, I've now created my win condition for the lane. I have him low enough that if I remount and go in, he's dead every time. Let's say he had like 70 or 80% health. Then this wouldn't be that great for me, as I wouldn't be able to kill him if I remounted, or if I was so low HP that I wouldn't be able to remount in time. This sounds Kled specific, but it's not. Let me explain. Let's take a different matchup as an example. Let's use Jax versus Riven. Jax's win condition is to be at a high enough HP that if Riven commits too hard to a trade, he can all in her and use his extended trade advantage to kill her. So if he wins 2 trades and has Riven at 50% and Jax is at 80%, it's the same scenario as here. Riven would have to outplay in some way to win a trade or two to get Jax lower so she can actually burst him down. That's exactly what Aatrox has to do here. He needs to outplay me in some way to win a trade, so I'm low enough that I can't remount and he can kill me. Every champion has their win condition based off the matchup, and it's important you know yours for each one. Alright, getting back to the lane, as I get dismounted, I'm going to grab these low health minions. I hit level 3, then start running at Aatrox like this as the cannon he's going to go for gets low. I'm not running at him because I want to hit him though. I'm running at him to make him feel pressured, so he'll make a mistake. His W is down, so I'm not in danger. If it was up though, he could kill me with a full combo. But just running at him like this makes him feel like I'm going to contest him when he goes for the cannon, and he needs to understand the scenario exactly. This leads to him feeling like he needs to use his Q to grab it like this, when I only plan on using Q like I did. Now let's talk about what should happen here if he actually understood this situation. What he should have done was walk up and auto the CS, knowing that his passive auto would do a nice chunk of damage if I tried to contest him, and it would heal him. And if I use Q like I did, then he would be at the perfect distance to use his first Q and hit me. But because of how I was pressuring him, he backed up and let me space in a way where my Q would hit him and put me out of range of his Q. This is exactly what I mean by advanced concepts making him make a mistake. The mistake he just made is a really big one though, as he is now just one more mistake from death and he's in a tricky scenario. After landing my Q like that, there are 2 important factors to understand. First, I now have enough courage where if I level up W and go in, I'm about 4 autos and 1 Q away from remounting. Second, like I said earlier, Aatrox needs basically a full combo to kill me here. He needs at least 2 sweet spot Qs and his W. Now that he only has 2 Qs left, he has to land them both. What he should do is just back up and wait for his Q to come up again, as walking up right now or committing to using his E and second Q would be very dangerous. What I'm going to do here though is use the mind game we talked about earlier with his E, the movement speed from being dismounted, and the first concept we talked about where you can bait them by standing on a low health minion to outplay him. I know he will use his E with his second Q if I stand on this low health CS. So I stand on it, then just run forward like this. If we pause, look what happened. He does exactly as predicted, and now he's 100% dead. There is no counterplay at all here for him. That's the problem with what he just did. He fully committed by using the E, and he doesn't have enough damage to kill me before I can remount. So I level up W and go in, remount, flash to follow his flash, then use E twice to stay on him and finish him off to get the kill. Alright guys, so as you can see, even though it would have been perfectly fine to just use a fundamental basic game plan, by using advanced concepts, I gave Aatrox more chances to make mistakes, and I could win the lane very early before he even crashed the wave, which is not usually what's supposed to happen. Now, for all you top laners out there that found this guide helpful, then I know you'll absolutely love our course on how to get to Diamond in 30 days. This will show you step by step how to climb from low elo all the way to Diamond as a top laner. This course has a perfect 5-star rating by over 20 players who are seeing insane results. And remember, this is completely risk-free for you to try, as you're kept safe with our rank up insurance. If you don't significantly improve while actively using skill cap, then you can get your money back, no questions asked. So click the link in the description below to unlock the full course to start improving fast and get the rank you've always wanted. But that's going to wrap up this one. I hope you learned from this and enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.